Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Green Game, and Subby Mountain Toward the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of A Fall from Grace. So let's go ahead and jump in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alright. A far cry from the pitiful robberies those two would engage in when I first met them. I'll give them that. The coyote was a tad confused as to why Victor had gone on a tangent about a couple other bandit successes, even though he obviously seemed to know the two. Nevertheless, he decided to engage with the fox's tail. That sounds very nice for them. I'm glad they've been as lucky as we have recently. Victor snorted loudly, replying with his mouth full. You silly goose, I'm describing all this to you because I want the two of us to take their loot from them. This was unexpected. Of all the things a fox could have said, Cedric felt this one came out of left field more than anything he could have attempted to picture. He was puzzled at this latest revelation, and took a moment to gather his thoughts. What, so steal from other bandits? What about honor among thieves and all that? Victor spat out the bacon he'd been chewing, laughing wildly. Ha! Oh, please, you're way too much of a gentleman, my dear. Especially considering the two we're talking about. Noticing the coyote's increasingly troubled look, he elaborated. You're correct. Usually I wouldn't bother doing such a thing, but why not steal from them if fate has led them and their gold straight to us? They've no doubt heard there are other bandits hiding out in these woods, and I yet have selfishly ignored that information. I'm not saying they wouldn't be welcomed if they came to us in friendship, but they've made a conscious decision not to do so. Cedric didn't like this idea at all, but seeing Victor act so self-assuredly must have meant he knew what he was doing, and his explanation seemed to make sense. He took a deep breath and answered as best he could. I guess you have a point. They could have joined or formed a temporary alliance with the masquerade, yet they didn't. Ugh! You ought to go through with this. You only live once. I'm willing to go along with your plan as long as it's not a risky feat. The fox wiped his mouth, still chuckling. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It would be very risky. I am sure those two will be armed, but we have the element of surprise, so in case either of them decide to pick a weapon, we'd shoot them before they'd be able to do anything. In fact, I might ask Blake if he'd be willing to hide nearby to keep his rifle pointed in their direction the whole time. You could even swap places with him if you felt like it. You proved you were a pretty good shot yesterday evening. These words sent Cedric's mind spinning. The other bandits had often portrayed themselves as ambivalent on the subject of taking lives. They assured him they would only kill someone in absolutely dire circumstances. Was this really a situation Victor could consider dire? Hearing the fox discuss the matter so flippantly, as if he were listing off some items he was meaning to carry along for an outing, filled the coyote with a sense of dread and justified rage. But could it be that he was wrong? Was this the last step he was going to have to overcome if he wanted to be a proper bandit? Was this really what it was going to take? So you're willing to take their lives over some gold, is that what you're saying? Victor looked puzzled after hearing the question. What I'm trying to say is I'm hoping it doesn't come to that, but we need to be ready in case it happens. No, this was something Cedric wasn't ready for. Something he objected to, no matter the circumstance. Victor wasn't going to talk his way out of this one. I'm not going to kill anyone. I thought I'd made myself sufficiently clear yesterday evening. I'm not a murderer. I morally object to the very idea of taking someone's life. How can you speak of doing something like that so lightly? Cedric began to raise his voice, moving away from the fox. Look, I understand your concerns, but a bandit's life isn't all sunshine and roses. This was one of the first things I told you the day we set off on our journey. The sooner you're faced with this fact, the better. The coyote stood up, anger now burning inside him at Victor's dismissal of his feelings. There's a difference between ending up in a deadly situation and choosing to actively create one. I thought you knew better than to do such a thing, V. The fox sprung up from his seat, imitating his companion, finally losing his temper and growling with each word he spoke. So what, now you're the arbiter of morality? Give me a break. I guess some of the attitude from the sort of rich scum I know far too well has rubbed off on you after all. There was no moderating to be done anymore. This had now turned into a full-on argument. Cedric finally burst after hearing the fox's latest insult. I hate to break it to you, but I'm a descendant of the noble family. And the world isn't all black and white. I thought you'd realize that, but now all your previous venomous comments about anyone from a higher class than yourself make sense. Is that really what you think of all the people from a wealthy background? Is each and every one of them the very devil in your eyes? A giant monolith you're bent on attacking? What makes you any better? Stealing from and killing others who are just in as bad of a situation as yourself? That doesn't make you a skilled bandit, it makes you a hypocrite. The moment you kill someone, you are implicitly declaring they deserve to die and you deserve to live. That's what you're saying. By actively claiming your life is worth more than theirs, you're sitting on the same level of awful morals as the rich jerks you so despise. Victor's eyes betrayed a look of hurt and disappointment. He hadn't been able to answer and had left Cedric to his rant, but his rage eventually got the best of him and he clenched his fist, stepping forward. Who the fuck do you think you are? Think you could show up here and lecture me on how to live my life? Insult me and call me a fucking hypocrite? People such as you have killed 10 times as any bandit has, and they don't even have the guts to do it with their own hands. And now I'm the savage. Perhaps you're not fit for this after all. Perhaps I should have left you to rot and feel sorry for the shit life you were leading, that gilded cage of yours. He moved away, lowering his voice in defeat. I'm sorry. I thought this could have been a new beginning for you, for both of us. Cedric shook his head, even though he knew the fox couldn't see him. So did I, Victor. I guess I was wrong after all. I'll ask Blake to assist me with the job. I'll see you later. Victor's last words were the nail in the coffin for the conversation, after which he and Cedric both walked off in opposite directions. The Cody had no idea where his steps were taking him, but all he knew was that he needed to walk, to get away. His thoughts were a mess, each of them ringing out loudly in his head, creating a silent cacophony he desperately wanted to repress. Well, that relationship didn't last very long. That didn't last very long at all. Throughout all of this, he constantly questioned whether he was the one in the wrong, but deep down he knew he wasn't. Victor was the one who owed him an apology, for expecting too much of him, for talking down on him and forcing him into scenarios that Cody was uncomfortable with. He'd never agreed to be the same kind of bandit Victor was. In fact, both of them had admitted they wanted to be this to be a temporary situation, before they could attempt to build themselves a better life. Right now, however, it appeared Victor cherished his life and refused to listen to anyone except himself. Cedric lifted up his gaze, and he realized he'd reached the stream and had been walking alongside it for the past 5 minutes. He let himself collapse on the soft grass, closing his eyes. What if Victor didn't apologize? What if he told Cedric his inner fears were true? That he wasn't fit for this life after all? The possibility of him leaving the bandits and returning to his hometown loomed in his mind. But that would mean returning to Lysander. He couldn't do that to himself. The other alternative was using the banditry skills he'd learned thus far to fend for himself and lead a solitary life. That would mean never seeing Victor again. And Cedric loved him and knew there was nothing he could do to change that. He opened his eyes anew, glancing at the boughs of the trees above him, firmly silhouetted against the bright sky. He slowly breathed in and out, finally managing to clear his mind of the multitude of worrying thoughts that had been lingering within. It felt as if the only person existing in the universe at that precise moment was Cedric, surrounded by the unmoving trees above and the eternal sky beyond them. The Cody remained lying where he was for a couple of hours, listening to the stream's chatter and forgetting everything else. Eventually, he picked himself up with immense effort and trudged his way back to the camp. His feet felt like they were made of lead, getting heavier with each step he took. Upon arrival, he noticed the fox was still absent, and the place was unnervingly quiet. Hollis seemed to have tidied the plates the two had left behind them after their argument, as they were no longer anywhere in sight. He'd probably heard everything, Cedric thought to himself. Who knows what he'd made of it all? As he glanced around the camp, the coyote reckoned one thing he could do was head back to his tent and wait there until Victor's return. However, another thought crossed his mind. He recalled Ridley's words the previous day. If there's anything ever on your mind, or if you ever need help with anything, I'm here to listen. Now seemed like the right moment to take the bear up on his offer. He didn't feel like he needed to talk about Victor. Any subject would do as long as it helped him to take his mind off his troubles and feel better. Ridley was easy to talk to and gave Cedric the impression of being a wise and understanding person. Truth to be told, all he needed was someone who would listen, someone who perhaps would understand what he was going through, someone who could offer helpful advice in a moment of need. Cedric. The Cody jolted. The person who had gently called out his name was but a few feet behind him, and their accent had an upper-class twinge. He spun around, meeting the broad and imposing hyena's glare. I'd like to talk to you. Please follow me to my tent. Second, y'all, it is water time. Oh yeah, there we go, baby. Okay. Cedric nodded without uttering a word. Dion hadn't given any possible reason why he might want to have a conversation with him, but his tone seemed formal, or perhaps even worried. Whatever the reason, the coyote would find out soon enough. He silently followed the hyena's footsteps, moving across the lonely camp and observing the white mist which had begun to envelop everything around them. Oh, to be continued. Okay. Alright, I suppose we have reached the end of this then. Okay, So, alright, I think I'll probably be picking up, God, what was it? What was it? What was the name of that game? I can't remember the name of it right now. Sorry, y'all. Alright, thank y'all so much for watching. This is, I'm really enjoying this so far. It's really good. I don't think Cedric and Victor have the healthiest relationship, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I think Victor was a little too venomous in his words. Yes, yes, I understand that you sometimes, in the heat of the moment, you can say awful things to each other, but yeah, it was just, I don't know. I think he, yeah, I think he kind of leapt to if they act against us, we'll kill them a little too quickly. Yeah. So maybe it shows that this life is having an effect on him where he's devaluing the lives of others. So, I mean, yeah, living a hard life can do that. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to have a quick shout out to lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank y'all for I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. Thank you going a bit above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our not safe for work contents as little as $5. If y'all don't want to donate to our Patreon, you can donate using Super Thanks on YouTube. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!